Coming to you November 20th, 2025. You're listening to Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. Corey Price has spilled the drink of one Stephen Peak, but luckily it did not get on the laptop. It seems like damage was minimal, and we're rocking and roll calling here on your Thursday. I am TJ Walker. We're live on the YouTube. Across the hall, across the wall, is one producer, Matt Childress, and across the table, Corey Price, Stephen Peak. What's up, boys? How's it going?
Which mic? Oh, wait.
Both need to be on. Yeah, you got to get a little love tap.
Smack it.
And
that's right.
I don't know who... Peak, I think you have a trait of my wife, and it's not a good one. Shut that
Love
door.
to hear it.
Shut the door.
Oh.
Are you not a door shutter?
No, usually I am. That's it's a minor mistake. It's fixable.
I fix it. Back to work?
Yeah, we can get back to work.
Get back to the lab? No, she will just not shut doors fully all the way. I don't get it. It quite frankly drives me crazy. And out of small inconveniences, this is a small inconvenience, but she'll just even to the point that it's shut, she won't shut it all the way so it clicks. So it just kind of hangs, that whatever the little knob hangs right there. And anytime like a window opens or another door opens, it just instantly just blows right back open.
But as one door closes,
Quite literally what I'm just saying. Yes,
Right,
absolutely, yeah. Corey Price. How was your week? What's up? It hasn't been the best Big Blue since we've last talked.
we did well in football.
Football, you're right. Women's volleyball just keeps rocking and roll calling.
Women's basketball is also
Women's basketball,
rolling.
wow.
Yeah. Last night for the first time, I went to a girls' flag football game.
Yeah, flag football, my daughter, I don't know, she doesn't seem like much of an athlete at 4 years old, but we'll see. But her age, her class, I bet girls' high school flag football is in a similar stratosphere to boys' high scholl state championships.
Yeah,
it's going to get there. I mean, it's fun to watch.
I don't know if this is the first year or second year that it has its own league. But I went last night, male, they were in the playoffs. They beat Butler, but then lost to Sacred Heart, so their season's over. But it was fun.
Oh, male lost?
It was cold, but it was fun.
Male lost in football? You better get used to it, buddy.
Oh, well.
You better get used to it, because Tiger Tech coming down the track, baby.
Tomorrow.
Choo-choo!
Tomorrow.
First game went pretty well. Hell, but you know what? Male, they came back against Manual after her first game didn't go so well. So
that's right.
That's tomorrow at Brother Thomas More Stadium, I believe, right?
Be very scared, yes.
7:30 or 7?
Ooh, that I don't know.
You gonna be there? Cats play basketball. That's a big one
that's
for you.
That's right. I'm going to an Alice Blue Gown show at Tin Roof. Actually, it's not far from Trinity.
But it's literally right next to Trinity.
Right, yeah.
So you're not watching Cats basketball or male football?
I'm going to do all three. I assume the UK game will be on the bar TVs, and then I'll watch Male X on my phone. I'll be killing three birds.
I thought you were a big male fan. I thought you were a big UK basketball fan. But your allegiance aligns with Alice Blue Gown. All right. Producer Matt, what's up? How was your Wednesday? How's your Thursday going? What's new in Matt Childress land?
Wednesday, was fun. We got to work.
We couldn't have had a worse day to be preempted by Bellarmine women's basketball. And shout out to the Knights. But goodness gracious, that was a big show for us yesterday. The UK gets annihilated against Michigan State show. And we're going to respond to it, and actually, just kidding, Bellarmine's women's basketball. But at least we were able to do the post-game show on Tuesday night.
I was telling Scooter when I walked in that I was glad to see that even texted our group chat saying, I can be there for the second hour or whatever. I was like, you guys don't even have to notice.
To be fair, I had forgotten that we were off today for what it was worth. So you were very helpful to me. We were going to, Jacob Polachek was going to be in yesterday. Matt Sack was going to come in the studio yesterday. We were going to have a jam-packed show. And then, Matt, when you reminded me of that, I went, I need to get some text messages out. But actually, Jacob reached out to me first and foremost. Hey, Producer Matt, I sent you the Mark Pope press conference. Can you get that ready to roll? All right, let's go ahead and listen to Mark Pope here on Kentucky Roll Call. Well, he's not on Kentucky Roll Call, but we're going to play it.
able to listen so I can cut reels like right away.
How much of this do you want to play? Our mics are cut, so we can talk. But the stream mic's on, so we shouldn't. Just our lucky. How many we got on YouTube right now watching us? Let's see. You all are privy to
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, VG seems to be really struggling. What are you coaching him up to do that he's not right now?
Yeah. Did you see that Jason Hart responded?
Oh boy.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not.
boy.
That's not. Oh no. Oh no.
I'm glad we're playing this.
The rumors are crazy right now. That's what happens when you don't. You know, the rumors of what happened. There's fights and girlfriends, and this is what happens
Yeah.
when you do this. Don't do this. This not with this fan base.
No.
It's Mark Pope taking on water. Go ahead, you enjoyed it.
Who they just asked about? Oh, Loyola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did a player show up on the roster he didn't know anything about? Just need kind of more of a disappointed vibe on the YouTube stream.
Are they getting? Is there a point where you have too much data, where you're overthinking stuff, and you're not just like? I mean, believe it or not, people used to win basketball games without keeping up with accelerations per minute and change of direction per minute. Sometimes they just went like, oh, we're just gonna play the best players, and we're gonna see how they go.
Yep. Wild concept.
Adrenaline in a game will also carry you a little bit. Whereas he's getting this data points a lot from practice when they're wearing the stuff and everything. And I get where in practice, you can say you practice this hard, but come on, we've all played sport. Like, you know that when the game is on, and the fans are in there, and the lights are on, the TVs are on, and you're in Madison Square Garden, they're not playing enough minutes continuously.
Did he say that Garrison's the most efficient player?
Is that what he said? I didn't hear that.
I think he said that.
I don't think so.
What metrics are you using?
If he said that, people will tweet about that. I didn't hear that, but that's crazy if he said that.
This isn't dispelling anything, by the way. This is just saying what it should be like. I think we're going to be great together. Do you see something in the film that's making him more optimistic today? Or are we just trying not to be so doom and gloom? Because that's kind of what it seems like to me. Might just be like people. Matt said a lot in the post game, like, "Whoa, don't act like somebody in the family just died."
All right, we ready to pull it?
Yeah, I want to hear what this one was saying.
After. All right, we'll pull it there. We don't need John Pelfrey questions. That was Mark Pope previewing tomorrow's game against Who Really Cares, because everybody with the polls Kentucky's played this year, they've been beaten. It's Loyola, Maryland, the Greyhounds, who's coming to Rupp Arena tomorrow. They're 2-4 on the year, and Mark Pope's scouting report of them was they looked good in a double-digit loss to Duquesne, and they added a player that he didn't know was on the team, he thinks. So that's some John Calipari level scouting previewing the Greyhounds tomorrow night at Rupp Arena. But you know what? I'll give Mark Pope a slight pass on that one specific issue, because I don't think we need to be worrying about the Greyhounds right now. I think it needs to be some self-reflection. We need to be worried about ourselves if you're a Kentucky Wildcat or if you're a Mark Pope. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio with Stephen Peak, Corey Price, producer Matt Childers, and I'm TJ Walker. You can get into the game at Rupp Arena tomorrow for as low as $24. I'm just now seeing on the website. Little Friday Night Lights in Rupp Arena. All right, that was interesting. And right when we started, within the first 2 minutes, not only interesting, but awkward. Ooh.
Yeah.
My assistant coach said, what? Having that interaction play out with Jack Pilgrim, having to tell him, like, yeah, Jason Hart responded to me, man, boy. Yeah, he laughed at it. And then he gives a politician canned answer of, no, we just got too excited too early against Louisville. It was nothing more than that. I wish I had more juice and drama for you.
Didn't Rick Pitino do that?
What's that? Get
too excited too
He did.
early?
Yes, yeah. That is true.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you think? Okay.
Did he really not know about it?
I think he really didn't know about it. I think that was genuine that he was finding out about his assistant coach responding to Me Man Boy. Me Man Boy is Mark Maggard, allegedly. And you probably should be familiar with him if you're a UK fan, but if you're not, he ran a fan site for many years. He actually did have some connections to UK basketball. With the fan site, allegedly, he offered lifetime memberships People paid. It was not cheap, but you were going to be an insider subscriber for the all of time. And sure enough, you could probably see where those inside lifetime membership subscriptions were going. The website went poof shortly after that. And he, no joke, supposedly, allegedly, ran off to Mexico and was a photographer and got out of the UK sports business.
Man.
Probably about 4 years ago, maybe around the pandemic, shortly after the pandemic, around when Orlando Antigua came back to UK, Me-Man Boy resurfaced. And at times did have some inside news, not much, but had maybe a scoop. And then it was mostly just speculation, and people eventually found out that he had no inside scoop whatsoever. And now he just pretty much blocks everybody. I'm certainly blocked by him. But I don't know. I guess he still tweets and talks UK basketball games. But he had speculated about the locker room issues, right? And then Jason Hart responded back to that. And that's not a good look for an assistant coach to go on Twitter and respond to rumors and speculation.
That's not the textbook way to handle this?
Not ideally.
Okay.
So that was a little bizarre. I guess he has now since deleted that, and he has tweeted out, "I don't normally respond, but chaotic locker room is false. You're making things up, which is unfortunate." Okay, he didn't delete it. Okay. I just couldn't see.
I don't know if that would be worse.
I just couldn't see that was the response because I'm blocked by little Me-Man Boy.
He's got you blocked.
He blocks everybody. If you're not blocked by him, you're not doing it right. I'm sorry.
I guess I don't think.
All I did,
He's doing the opposite of Brandon Garrison.
We had a conversation when he blocked me. And then, of course, he had that hilarious tweet about somebody's dunk where he was like, "Now, I could be wrong, but I thought that was just a normal dunk." And sometimes you'll see that thrown out, and UK fans will joke around with that. But he's just kind of a goober. But Jason Hart took the bait, and he responded to him. And that's what Mark Pope was asked about. That was a little awkward. So his explanation of the Louisville game was, no drama. It's just we were supposed to be doing team meetings. Instead, we were bouncing off the walls doing pump-up music. I'm not buying it, Mark Pope. I'm not buying it. And if that all that was, then why not just say that instead of coming out like you're writing the script for Gossip Girl? If you knew just the story that happened here, and everybody is a valuable contributor. Dude, just say, hey, this game got out of hand, I think, before the game, because instead of actually preparing for the game, we were listening to music, getting pumped up, and running into each other because we wanted to beat Louisville so badly we lost focus. What?
I said before that I thought that this is something that Mark Pope likes to do. Hold on to these stories so that when you have the resolution, or when you figured it out, you can go back to the story to show how much you've grown. At this point, you just have to say it. I can't, like, what was the quote that he used today when asked about it? Was it just, he didn't put a bow on this still, right? I mean, we're still left wondering what happened.
Well, now we just don't believe him. But I will say from a Pope standpoint, he probably does think a bow has been put on this. There's no further drama. There is no drama. Our players love each other. We just got too amped up too early. But nobody's buying that, so he thinks there's a bow on it, but he's just thrown some dirt on it.
Well, then there was the whole thing during the game on Tuesday where they said players were barking at each other. Now, that can happen in the course of a game as you fall behind by 20 points again. So maybe it's not a carryover from the Louisville game, but now that's all people are going to be. That's all our eyes. Now you're kind of looking for it. When you look for stuff, you can find it.
Oh, for sure. Like the Otega Owe expression after the game on Tuesday night. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Complete disaster. I got to do the post-game show, but we haven't heard producer Matt's thoughts on, at least on Kentucky Roll Call, on UK's beatdown to Michigan State. Stephen Peake hasn't had a chance to vent about it. Corey Price really hasn't given his 2 cents. But we're up against a commercial break, so you'll have to wait a little bit longer. And we're going to play a little bit of trivia to get our minds off things. But I've got a couple other thoughts on Mark Pope. He did touch on Jalen Lowe right when we were getting into his press conference. Does sound like Jalen Lowe's not going to go the injury route for what that is worth, which honestly I don't think is much. But it's something. It's something to talk about. Woo! It is never a boring time to be a fan of the University of Kentucky. And Mitch Barnhart's leaving? We got to talk about that too. Trivia up next here on Kentucky Roll Call.
producer Matt is killing me right now.
He's had between the YouTube page and the music, and actually when we throw it to Mark Pope, him having it up ready to go, I'm just not really used to ever having a producer at Big X Sports Radio, especially when I was my own producer. That was when we were the most producerless.
And Scoots was terrible, so you know.
Whoa! I was talking more. I was talking more about Trevor Kelsey being
Trace.
terrible, not Scoots. Scoots was adequate. Okay, adequate. Oh yeah, yes, I love Trevor. Tuesday night, yes, and thanks to everybody that listened and called in. Those ones on Tuesday, it's kind of a blend of like a bunch of ticked off UK fans and then rival fans that are just soaking it all up. But the numbers were good. But I'm blessed to have people call in, so thank you all. I was really upset Tuesday night. That was easily the most upset I've been at Mark Pope because my buddy Charlie sent me a text today, and it was the meme of Step Brothers when they're doing the interview, and it's Seth Rogen, and he's like, "Nah, you know what? The suits, that seem a little weird." He sent me a picture of that. He said, "Okay, now losing 12 games last year seems kind of messed up, come to think of it." And you start to look at these numbers, and you're like, "Wait a second. We're getting blown out. We're losing big games. We're losing a lot of games. This isn't what we signed up for. This is what we thought we were moving on from. And we were going to give you a pass for the injuries last year, and you probably deserve a pass for injuries already this year, but we just can't do it at some point. Your favorite restaurant needs to produce your favorite meal every once in a while. They can have an off night, but it can't be an off 5 years.
Since Pope has gotten here, we're 14-14 against Power 4 schools.
That's not good.
That's horrible. You just can't do that.
My old favorite restaurant closed, and my new favorite restaurant sucks. Is that the line from The Office?
There it is. Yeah.
This is it was a bad night in New York City. Again, 3 straight times I have now left New York, flown out of the Newark airport with a loss. Very frustrating. And you know what? The games aren't even close, TJ. They're not even close, and they're not fun. They're not entertaining. That loss to UCLA a couple years ago was when I was, I think, done with Calipari. I was trying to look forward to the next season, but that night it was so bad and so boring that I couldn't take it anymore. And then
we played
Ohio State last year.
Which was probably worse.
And that game was terrible. Mark Pope said that was the worst loss, no hesitation. Worst, not just because it was a 20-point loss, but just, again, Kentucky completely taken out of the game. And 2 nights ago, just another game in Madison Square Garden where Kentucky doesn't even have a chance in the second half.
I mean, it was over with what, like 6 minutes to go in the first half?
Oh,
when they went on that big run, when UK had a lineup of Jasper Johnson, Cam Williams, Trent Noah, Andre Yelovich, and Brandon Garrison.
Ugh. The lineups, I mean, am I just reliving every Kentucky season?
The quick trigger of the lineups, too? The whole lineups. I mean, the lineups he's using, switching lineups. Thank you. Wildcat's tongue, who, gosh, I hate that he's got the U of L logo.
It throws me off every time.
It throws me off.
I kept thinking of that ever since UK U of L game. I was like, which one of the Twitter accounts had to change theirs? I forgot that was the one.
Wildcat's tongue. He's now Miguel Enthusiast. But he stayed true to his bet, and God love him. But he's just been tweeting out lineup stuff, and it's not good. Through 5 games, this is from Wildcat's tongue. Make sure you're following him on Twitter, friend of KRC. He's been on the show. Through 5 games, Mark Pope had played 63 different 5-man lineups.
Yep.
47 of those lineups have played less than 3 minutes together. So only 16 lineups Kentucky has played this season, many games into the season at this point. Only 16 lineups have played 3 or more minutes together. Only 2 of those lineups have played on the court for more than 10 minutes this season. And only 1 lineup has played in all 5 games, which would be, of course, the starting lineup.
Yeah. Is this the chicken or the egg thing? Is it bad because we keep trying all these lineups, or are you trying all these lineups because it's been so bad?
But the thing is, you were winning at you were winning against Michigan State. You were winning against Louisville. It wasn't like it was all bad.
You're right.
But then you try a lineup, and things get a little discombobulated, and then you just can't ever find the sauce to get it back together. It's a total mess. All right, we got to switch over.
Mo
to trivia.
Diabate is a game time decision. So is he out? I mean, he suffered an injury at the end of that game. Do we have another injury every 2 games? Kentucky basketball with an injury.
According to Mark Pope's wording, didn't he say there's a significant chance he doesn't play? So he's not playing tomorrow.
No,
they're going to roll him out, banged up, 60% against Loyola Maryland when Kentucky's already a little stinky at this point.
This is what you recruited Tougher for, so you could. Never mind. I literally had to temper a lot of stuff that I was gonna say for that rapid reaction on Saturday. I'm gonna try to keep doing that here.
I like Mo Diabate, and he was better in the second half, but at least we won't have to see any threes from him tomorrow.
How did Mark Pope see that he shot 40-something percent, 46%? What was he, 12 of 26 at Alabama last year?
Yeah.
Did he see that and think, well, yeah, it was low volume, but he made 12 of 26?
It just cracks me up that
he's not a good. You can watch the form and go, oh nope, not a shooter. Oh man.
It is a little bold to think that Nate Oates, the 3-point king, didn't turn this dude into a 3-point shooter. They shoot a million threes. You don't think this guy would have shot, I don't know, 150 of them if he was actually good? There's a reason they kept him inside, not off the perimeter. But they're using him as a stretch forward. It's just a total and complete waste of a really, really good college basketball player. Not a really good shooter, obviously, but a really good college basketball player. Pope's made a mess of things, and he deserves the blame for it. Honeymoon's over. We like him personally, but he deserves the blame for the position Kentucky basketball is in here on November 20th. Can we play some trivia for the love of Pete? For the love of Pope?
Pete Maravich?
Pistol Pete. All right, switch the music. Let's try to finish this in hour 1. It probably is out there for what it's worth.
Starting off November 20th birthdays. First up, former UK men's basketball player Antonio Reeves.
I saw it.
Oh, you cheater.
I saw it. I think maybe Cats Coverage tweeted it out.
Cheater, punk.
But I could be wrong. I could have the wrong number in my head. Anybody, you want to take a guess? Antonio Reeves?
See, 22 and 20. It's a good guess. I'll do 28.
He's 25 today, I think.
25, TJ.
Yeah.
Good job. I thought he was an older.
Jesus.
For some reason, I don't know why I thought that.
Jesus. Okay, because you cheated. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I didn't cheat. Just because I saw it doesn't. I mean, we all saw any answer we get right. We saw at some point, right?
That's true.
Next up, former UK football player Craig Yeast.
Okay, senior in when 98, 97?
Was it 99?
No, I don't think he was there with Dusty Bonner.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so that would 20. So
49. So he's like 49, 50ish.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, okay, you got 49. I'll say 40. I'll say 50.
All right, I'll say 49, 50. What do you want to go with, producer Matt?
I'll ride you guys out 48.
Okay.
TJ again, 49.
Let's go, baby.
Gonna praise the Lord.
Jesus. Next, former U.S. President Joe Biden.
137.
Yeah.
219.
How old was George Burns? Okay, hang on.
I'm not kidding. I mean it.
80.
Serious, guys.
80. Is he like 85?
I think he's 82, 81, 82, 83
Okay,
is
all
what
right,
I've
I'll do
rolled with.
83. 83.
I'll go 82.
I'll go 86.
Oh.
Stephen Peake, 83.
Yeah. All right. Do. He gains 4 years to his age, or he loses 4 years? Oh, okay. Because he fell that one time. That was kind of scary. Like, that age. Glad he's out of service, though, and he can just relax.
Next, rapper Future.
Yeah,
Pass.
man. Let's see. He would
Future
have
is
graduated
true.
college in.
How would you know when he graduated college?
I don't.
I've always thought he was like late 30s, but I have no idea.
Oh, you're you're so young. My goodness.
Okay, so
let's
30,
say
30
he was like 22 back then or 23
37.
back then, and add 14 years to it.
Yeah, let's say 37.
I like that. I'll say just round on the dot of 40.
He's actually 42 today.
Oh,
42.
well, we're close.
Last of the birthdays, country music singer Dierks Bentley.
Man.
Probably doesn't
40,
drive one.
46.
Dierks Bentley, I'll say he's 44.
He is 50 today.
Oh,
Yes, he is.
there's the round
Yep.
number that, okay.
350.
Hmm.
Next, November 20th events. First up, the Christmas comedy film Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, is released in U.S. theaters.
Another U.S. president is in that movie.
Was it like 96
Nah, no, it was before
before
that.
that? Okay, 93.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll say 92, but I was thinking 93. What do you want to go with, producer Matt? Maybe 94?
TJ, 1992.
Oh, wow, that is. So what was the original? 90? 90?
I believe 90.
I
Yeah.
think that's accurate.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That came out today. I bet that was a real fun holiday flick back in
Oh.
1992.
It's still fun today.
Wonder what the Walker family was doing. All right.
Actress Drew Barrymore hosts Saturday Night Live for the first time, becoming the youngest person to ever host the show.
Ooh. Okay. Why would Drew Barrymore? What was her first thing that she was in that made her famous?
I'm not gonna give it away because then you'll know the.
No, you're just letting me know what her big break was. I'll know what that is. Can you be underage and host a late night TV show? I wouldn't see why not. That's true. It's a little, adult context. Yeah, I guess I'll just say 18.
20.
You gotta name the year.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I thought it was how old she was when she
No.
did it.
Typically on these events questions, I give the
Okay.
date, and you give the year.
That's true.
Okay, so I have to do math again.
Well, how old is Drew Barrymore? I'll say 1994.
99.
She hosted in 1982 at the age of
Wow.
7 because of
7?
E.T. People, come on.
Oh, okay.
E.T.
All right, that's a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
It's a trick question.
What's that?
She didn't really host.
She hosted.
She didn't really host.
She
the
really
show.
hosted.
They had her out there in the beginning. They let her do a little bit with ET, and then she was off. You didn't see her again. Yeah, trick question.
Yeah, boy. Next, Garrett Morgan receives a patent for his 3-position traffic signal. Well, I'll let you know. He's
Garrett Morgan first 3-position traffic signal, and then he got
he's
home.
from Kentucky. He was born in Paris.
Wow.
Yeah.
Paris, France.
Oui, oui.
Okay. I'll say that he was, probably about 32 years old.
Gotta do the
Oh,
year.
that's right. Yeah. 1908.
That's a good year for Cubs baseball.
Sure.
1918 Red Sox baseball.
Yeah. Okay. We can
Okay.
buddy up on that. I like it. We're just guessing, anyways. You never know. Okay.
1923, actually.
Oh, you know what? Peak within 5 years. Should we play it?
Yeah, go Red
Peak
Sox.
within 5
Go.
years. Yeah. Woo-hoo. All right. 3 positions.
You cannot be serious. You're about 5 years. Give me a break.
In the
My
grand scheme of time,
That's-
Corey, that's pretty good.
And you gave us a trick question on Drew
That
Barrymore.
was not a trick question. You're a trick question. No, sorry. This is the last. Microsoft Windows 1.0 is released for the first time. The original Microsoft Windows,
So Microsoft 95 came
which
out
I
in 95.
which I still use.
So,
There you go.
okay.
I think Mr. Microsoft was 7 years old.
84. 1984.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, just
I'll say 78. Just guess 95 if you want to go with it.
I feel like there's got to be one before.
You never know.
I feel like the Windows operating system would have started with just Windows. I don't know that they would have added a.
Just say a year for the love
Come on,
of
come
God.
on, Beta Matt. Greatest year ever, 1985.
Did we get that?
84.
No.
84. That's a lot closer than 5 years.
I don't care.
No, he made it.
It's
He
not 85.
Did you say when it was
Yeah,
released?
when.
It was released 1985.
But
Okay.
the demo was actually 84.
Oh, the
It was
demo wasn't
yeah,
84.
it
It was not. It was not.
That's probably 84.
It was not.
All right. What's the next one?
Last of the events, the TV special A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving airs on CBS for the first time.
Well, I've got no idea.
1956.
I would think in like the 70s? 74? Could be 60s though.
What was the question again?
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special.
Okay. It's that man. Would it go back that far? I guess it would.
Yeah, I want to change my guess to 67.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I don't know. That may be dumb.
1971.
Ooh, 1973.
Ooh,
Dang.
I said 74 originally. Should have just stuck with that and also been wrong.
So it's next week. In basketball, we're playing Tennessee Tech and Loyola, and in football, we're playing Vandy. So a little bit of all three schools.
If we're going to play a Loyola, why not the Sister Jean one? If we're just going to be honest with each other.
Well, sorry. To the nearest mile, what is the straight line
All right.
distance from Kroger Field to First Bank Stadium in Nashville?
Pete, you made the trip?
Not from Kroger Field, but from Louisville. So add another 70 miles or so. But that's not straight line. That's driving.
Mhm.
Right.
I'll say 151.
We said 151.
Mhm.
180. 173.
Well, Matt cheated because it's 182.
Wow!
Oh,
Let's
you
go,
cheated.
baby!
Matt using Google.
Right on the dot? Yeah,
Matt,
that's huge. Go buy a lottery ticket.
You are the cheatingest cheater I've ever seen.
That's huge. That was like when Scoots cheated and got the exact number of hot dogs
Hot
eaten on
dogs,
4th of
yes.
July or whatnot.
I think it's 150 million, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Some crazy number.
Wow. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Scoots got it right on the dot, though. Like, to the exact wiener.
So, La Jolla is located in Baltimore. According to the 2020 U.S. Census, Baltimore is the second largest city in America whose name starts with the letter B. What is the largest city in America whose name starts with the letter B?
You'd think Boston is bigger than Baltimore, but let's work through this a little bit. Baton Rouge is not the correct answer.
Calling it.
Dallas?
Baton Rouge.
If the answer was Boston, feel free to just let us know. But
It is Boston.
okay, there we go.
There you go.
I don't even know what a good second B guess would have even been, honestly. Birmingham?
Third is Bakersfield.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
absolutely glad we stuck with Boston. Not at all. In what? How so? Okay. What big city has good traffic, producer Matt?
Their city has like neighboring houses directly surrounding it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It backs everything up. It's horrible.
Okay, well then don't walk places. You don't live there. You're a tourist. Go walk places. You shouldn't be getting stuck in Boston traffic all that often anyways. That's not a good enough reason to say
I'm
your
always
city's
getting stuck
overrated.
in Boston traffic.
Alright.
It's happened to me all the time.
On the way, that's why you were getting here close to
Yeah,
showtime today. All right, next question.
Based on undergraduate student enrollment, Vanderbilt is the smallest school in the SEC. What is the smallest school among the Power Four conferences?
Okay.
Northwestern, I think, could be up there. Wake Forest, I don't think it's
That's a good.
ginormous.
Wake Forest is a good
Still,
guess.
no. SMU, that's not bad.
Wake Forest is a good guess because it is Wake Forest.
Oh! All right.
In 2024-2025, they had 5,490 undergrads.
Wow.
That's tiny.
Yeah, Murray State bigger than that. By double that actually.
Ooh.
So, La Jolla is nicknamed the Greyhounds. And what year was the Greyhound Lines bus company founded?
1956?
Well, no, it's just Greyhounds, that's all.
Let's just guess a year, folks, when this bus company started.
1948.
Okay.
1937.
How about the start of World War I, 1914?
I mean, what was a Greyhound bus like in 1914?
Probably the same as is now.
Probably a
Done lot
horse pulling it, I
of
would think.
Yeah, maybe. Although it was set in Washington, D.C., this Netflix series, which began in 2013 and starred Kevin Spacey, had many scenes filmed in Baltimore.
I know it. House of Cards.
House of Cards, TJ.
There you go.
What was the name of the barbecue shack in House of Cards? Lenny's or Leroy's or something like that.
One show of it.
Always looked good. House of Cards was good, and then it got really bad.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin Spacey got Me Too'd.
Yeah.
I think with Boyce. Matter of fact.
Clark Lee, the head coach of Vandy, attended Montgomery. Yes, attended Montgomery Bell Academy in Nashville, which is also the alma mater of this former Tennessee pitcher and 2012 NL Cy Young Award winner.
It's a good question.
Clayton Kershaw.
Montgomery Bell, I've gotten to cover a game there once, and man, that is a college campus. Have you ever seen it before? Montgomery Bell and Innsworth in Nashville, those two places are
I don't know what
massive schools.
Star pitcher went to Tennessee. Didn't David Price go to Vandy?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so David Price.
Oh,
I got no guesses.
I also Clayton Kershaw.
R.A. Dickey.
Oh, the knuckleballer. Okay.
Tim Wakefield's the
U.R.A. Dickey.
But that's a great. R.A. Dickey has a great story. Well, about how he failed and then learned how to think he might have had
the knuckleball. Right?
Yeah, he learned how to throw the knuckleball well.
He
got him back to the league
for forever.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of great stories, C.J. Carr, Notre Dame quarterback, he recently, there's a story about his brother and stuff. If you want a good cry, read that story. I'll tweet it out here in a bit. Go ahead.
So this week, Vandy is ranked in the AP poll. When is the only other time the UK has faced a Vandy team ranked in the AP poll?
1999.
I'll say 2013.
Oh, duh. I forgot James Franklin was. Okay.
Yeah, I think like 12, 13, 14. I'll say solid guesses.
I'll say 14.
Actually, it's 1947.
No
way. So they never
Only other
got ranked for
time
those
they
games.
played a ranked Vandy team.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they won that game, actually. So
Kentucky did?
Go Cats, baby.
Couldn't stop us in the
Vandy
40s.
was ranked 10th in that 1947 contest, by the way.
What was Kentucky ranked?
Ooh, I didn't.
I'll look it up.
Yep. So Tennessee Tech is coached by a UK great, John Pelphrey. John Pelphrey attended Paintsville High School, which is also the alma mater of this Grammy-nominated country music singer, and I'll give you a hint, he graduated in 2009 from Paintsville High School. That is a Scoot's guess.
I don't know. I'll say Morgan Wallen.
It's a good guess. He's from around that area, isn't he?
I think so. Wasn't cousins with Matt Jones or something?
I don't know. Who's when did you say he graduated?
Class of 2009. This Grammy-nominated country music singer.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Who else could it be?
Taylor Swift?
Chris Stapleton.
Close. Tyler Childers.
Oh,
Tyler
I'm
Childers.
embarrassed.
Yeah, we should.
I'm embarrassed.
Oh well.
Should be embarrassed.
Oh well.
How did I not even? He's my favorite country. How did I not guess that?
That's on you, man.
That is. I'm gonna leave.
Please don't. The head coach of La Loya is Josh Leffler, and Josh Leffler attended Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania, which is also the alma mater of this former governor of Massachusetts and the Democratic nominee in the 1988 U.S. presidential election. Who ran for president
in 98
against Reagan?
You said
Bush. Sorry, Bush.
Who was the guy that put the helmet on his head? Dukakis?
Yeah.
Yes, mine was Dukakis, Steve.
That's it. Way to go, Pete. It was on the tip of my tongue. You got it. Dukakis. Is that it for the trivia?
I've got one more, but we
better run.
Yeah.
We'll do dozen. We got close to finishing it, but we'll do that and dozen, and then we'll get into some serious UK football talk. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call up next.
that step back was terrible.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. Get your text into the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Gameday Men's Health, they are redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results at Gameday Men's Health. You can go to GamedayMen'sHealth.com to learn more. Sexual performance therapy, weight loss, peptides, testosterone, they've got it all. GamedayMen'sHealth.com, defining a new era in men's health. All right, Corey, let's finish up this trivia. We've got one more question, and then I'm going to ask you a couple dozen questions and see if you can win a lucky listener some salsaritas.
You're going to ask me 24 questions?
Not 24 questions.
Yeah, you said a couple dozen.
The dozen. 5 dozen questions.
60 questions?
Yep. Lock in.
I'm going to be here all day.
Lock in, trivia boy.
So, Loya, or they're nicknamed the Greyhounds. I believe you mentioned that. The Greyhounds is also the team name for this Division II school located in the state of Indiana.
UIndy.
Yeah, of course, TJ. Look at that.
UIndy.
Amazing.
I'm pretty solid with mascots. Teams. Played a lot of video games back in the day.
Indy was on.
They
those
weren't,
games?
but
Okay.
just I think I'm more familiar just
Right.
driving through Indianapolis
Yep.
many times. All right, cool. We did. That was very good, boys. Well done.
Matt cheated once. TJ cheated once. Steve was the only one that didn't cheat. It's funny because he's on his.
Well, you did a couple trick questions.
Steve's on is on his Apple thing right now. So.
KS Board may have had the answers for me the whole time.
The answers. Oh, to the board, to the trivia.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 5 dozen trivia questions.
Oh boy.
You can play this dailydozentrivia.com. If Corey gets all 5 right, we're giving a salsaritas entree to a lucky listener.
What if I get all 60 right?
You own a salsaritas. No, I don't think I ever found that person in the text thread again, but you can find them. Oh, and we'll get in touch with them. Okay. NFL, college football, college basketball, geography, chain restaurants, television, movies, music.
College football.
Okie dokie. The Iron Bowl rivalry is a game played between Alabama and this school.
Are you being Auburn?
All right, that's correct.
Hey, Corey! Whoa!
You know, get her. I don't make these questions. I don't make them. All right, you got it right.
He got that one with his eyes closed.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Unbelievable. College basketball, I'm guessing.
Yeah, why not?
All right. This Duke big man got to play alongside 2 of his goofy dweeb brothers during his tenure from 2009 to 2013, and somehow he was a 2013 All-American. Played against Kentucky in the 2012 Champions Classic.
It's Plumlee, right? Do I need the first name?
Oh, you gotta guess which
man.
dingus Plumlee bro I'm talking about.
Mason?
It was Mason.
Yeah.
Wow. There was Mason, Marshall, and Mickey.
And Poop Tooth, right?
Poop Tooth Plumlee. All right. Chain restaurants, geography, NFL, television, movies, and music. You are 3 questions away from some delicious, wildly addictive chips.
Chain restaurants?
All righty. Chain restaurants here. As of October 2025, McDonald's is currently offering a limited-time McFlurry and McFrapper. What? With what cookie or snack brand as the add-in? Okay. Well, we got a sweet treat last night, and I did not see this on their menu for what it was worth.
Well, this is where my
It's a cookie company,
right, of course.
and they are putting it in the sweet treats. Think of a cookie company.
Maybe
Maybe one with a bit of a pirate flair to it.
Chips Ahoy.
Hey!
Assist to Walker.
Peak is disgusted with the dozen
he
trivia.
is.
He's out of here.
Yep.
All right. What?
He did leave his phone though.
Wow.
So watch out.
NFL, geography, television,
Movies and music, right?
movies and music.
Let's go movies.
Okay. Movies it is. Younger versions of Charles Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique, played by James McAvoy, how do you pronounce that name? Michael Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence were introduced in this 2011 X-Men film. James McAvoy.
X-Men Origins. I don't know.
Ooh, it's X-Men First Class. Do we give it to him?
No.
Do we give it to him?
No.
Well, let's do the last one and just see, okay? All right, because we did kind of give you Chips Ahoy. What would you do for the last one? NFL, geography, television, or music?
Music.
Music. All right. Do you think he gets it right, producer Matt? If you bet correctly, we can give out some salsaritas today, okay?
I'm gonna say he gets it right.
You're gonna say he gets it right. So if he gets it right, salsaritas is being dished out. If he gets it wrong, there will be no salsaritas for any listener. You understand?
The listeners gotta pay for our salsa.
That's exactly right. Made for the 2010 World Cup, the song Waka Waka, this time for America, had what Latin singer as the main artist?
Enrique Iglesias?
No, can I give him a hint? I won't tell him. Can I give him a hint?
Yeah.
The hits do not lie, Corey.
Oh, Shakira.
You already got it wrong, though, so no salsaritas for anybody. I'm sorry. Producer playing the music, producer Matt just rubbing it into our poor listeners' faces that they won't be getting delicious free salsaritas.
You fired it off too early.
However, if you download the Salsaritas
So-
app, they
so
basically
did
give
Rick.
away. Okay, that's 2 Rick Pitino jokes. Get out. You know the rules. If you get to the second one, you gotta leave. You gotta leave the studio. Okay. And we know that Rick Pitino couldn't. 502-414-1450 is the
Bye,
Game Day
guys.
Men's Health text line. Thank you so much, Corey Price. You're the man. Enjoy Alice's blue gown tomorrow.
And thanks to Stephen for staying the whole time.
And
Appreciate it.
I hope you enjoy Males Beatdown,
No,
courtesy of the
come
St.
on
Xavier
now.
Tigers.
Go Dogs. Go
Hopefully the
Dogs.
Cats get a win, and next time we talk, it's a little bit better news than BB Inland. But thank you, Corey Price.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Stephen Peake's back in. What's going on, Stephen Peake? And he didn't leave. He didn't shut the door all the way again.
I was leaving it open for Corey.
Oh, okay.
Thinking about Corey here.
Okay.
No, just had to go out and get a Mark Pope reel made real fast. A reel made real fast.
What was the real?
Just one of his quotes. It was the longest one. I had to cut it up a little bit, so I wanted to walk out.
Was it
so
about
I
the
could hear.
locker room drama?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
about it was the one where he was talking about. It was while we had him on. He was saying a lot of times it might look like a guy's being selfish when he's out there just trying to make plays to keep the team in the game, and that's a little bit of coach speaky stuff. But I think people might want to hear it. I think what was the biggest thing you took from that press conference? I guess if you want to get into it a little bit.
Probably, truthfully, if we want to be adults about it, probably the Jalen Lowe, Mo Diabate update. And not having Mo tomorrow night's not that big of a deal, but hopefully he'll be good to go next Wednesday, and it's not something that's going to be, well, we don't know if by the UNC game he'll be ready to go. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's just if they were playing somebody worth a fart tomorrow, he'd probably go out there, but they just want to rest him, and that's not going to be anything long term. But the Jalen Lowe, I don't know if Mark Pope did that intentionally, unintentionally, if we're reading into it too much, if we're reading into it just the right amount, but him basically saying he's not going to do surgery, that it's going to be, it's how he deals with the rehab and pain tolerance and all that sort of stuff with Jalen Lowe. So I think that was the biggest takeaway. If he would have actually given us some substance on the locker room drama, then that'd be one thing. But he has his narrative of how to just bury that, and they're not going to back away from that
But
now. So we'll never get anything more from that moving forward. That's it, according to Mark Pope. But there's obviously something going on with this team.
Well,
They don't
that's
seem to
the-
like each other. There's something.
Well, that's it, TJ. I mean, what you just said. Who's going to believe him now? The narrative is already rolling in one direction. It's going to be kind of hard to, because like I said in the first segment, now people are looking for that. They're looking for those moments in the huddle where they're pointing and yelling at each other. And Kentucky basketball is kind of, I mean, since 2022-23, I think 3 of the last 4 seasons, there's been a little bit of this. You heard, I mean, there was this Sevier and Oscar kind of going at it in that South Carolina game, and then I don't think we saw Sevier Wheeler again the rest of the season after that. And then you had a couple guys getting into a fight at halftime of the Oakland game. And last year went smooth. There's a lot about last year's team that I miss. And a lot of people said last year's team would be Pope's least talented team. Not calling them a bunch of scrubs. There were good players on that team. I mean, what I would give for Amari Williams right now. What I would give for Lamont Butler to be at point guard. What I would give to have Jackson Robinson, who was off and on. But right now, and I said this after the Georgetown game, because that was a game that a lot of red flags went up for me, because you invested in depth. Mark Pope said we did not go after runaway talent. We invested in having depth, and our depth is what's going to lead us to a national championship. And I saw that game against Georgetown, and I went, oh, there's your depth, and your depth doesn't look very good. It looks like you got a bunch of guys who might not be playable like we thought they would be. And if they are playable, they're just serviceable. You hope that they don't hurt you while they're out there. And I think we kind of overvalue depth. And it's probably because he dealt with a lot of injuries last year, and he was forced to play some guys and try to win games with that end of the bench. Once you got to like the 9th, 10th player last season, 8th, 9th, and 10th, I mean, there's obvious drop-offs. But one of those major drop-offs was the guy you got starting at center right now.
Yep.
And you're going to try to... I just don't see the vision for this, because the way that Mark Pope wants to play and the way that last year's team was so much fun to watch doesn't exist on this year's team. You've seen it, TJ. You've seen great GMs overthink stuff and overcorrect. I remember as a Cubs fan, in 2008, the Cubs were 97-64. They had the best record in baseball, but they got swept by the Dodgers, which it happens, right? And the GM at the time decided that they were just too much right-handed. So they dropped a lot of the right-handed players and brought in a bunch of lefties, and the next season they didn't make the playoffs. They went from the best record in baseball to not making the playoffs and finishing, I think, 3rd in the NL Central. And we found out later, righty versus lefty doesn't matter. I worry, did Mark Pope make the same mistake? Did he overcorrect for defense and sacrificed offense, and now you don't even really defend well? You're giving up 90 points per game against the teams who are any good.
That was an issue I had with Calipari towards the end. Is he was so reactionary instead of just knowing the right buttons to push beforehand. And UK would have a team that had terrible passing. So what do you do? I'm going to go get the all-time leading assist guy and Severe Wheeler at Georgia. Well, that was not the right decision in hindsight. He wasn't built for Kentucky. And I do go back to another Calipari quote that Kentucky's not for everybody. And I that got drilled into us that we all got so sick of it, but it is 100% true. There is maybe 3 other places like this in college basketball where everybody's paying attention to every game in the fan base. It's life or death, and if you lose, people are just going to absolutely freak out. There are 2 UK postgame shows. What other what other fan base has one? There's several. I imagine Kansas does and Duke does. Kentucky basketball is an animal. It's huge. And some people, when it doesn't go their way, they're 18 years old, they're 19 years old, they're 20 years old. And yeah, we don't have to feel bad for them, or you can. I don't care. They are compensated fairly. They've got seemingly solid lives, but behind the scenes, I'm sure things aren't as easy as it looks. So it's not a personal thing, but it can become a personal thing for these guys. They get sad, and if you're sad, you don't play as well. Maybe the things in their personal life are impacting their basketball, and it's not so much what's happening on the court. But it's like you're in a snow globe, and everybody's watching you. And when things don't go well, you start to get shooken up a little bit. And there are so many people in the last 10 years that just have not handled it well at UK. And I wonder how many people in this locker room just aren't cut out for the bright lights and the constant criticism that comes with being a Kentucky basketball player. And big picture, is Mark Pope built for Kentucky? Kentucky's not for everyone. Is Mark Pope meant to be the head coach at Kentucky? Can he handle this? Because early in this season, again, you've played 4 teams with a pulse, 2 exhibition, 2 meaningful, and you've lost 3 of them. Really not overly competitive in all 3 of them. Are you built for Kentucky? Because now, this season that every fan was over the moon excited about, and $22 million, you get punched in the mouth, and you are quoting Shakespeare and Taylor Swift and borderline crying after a regular season loss on November 18th.
Oof.
So is he built for Kentucky?
I'll tell you what, that press conference did not inspire me on Tuesday. That was as sad as I've ever seen a coach, as dejected as I've ever seen a coach. And I remember when I was at Tennessee, I thought Butch Jones handled some post-game press conferences really poorly as far as his demeanor. The kind of stuff that just makes you think, oh no. Oh, is it worse than just this loss? That's where people start to add these stories in where there's this space to add them, where especially when you're hinting at the pregame stuff. I mean, the rumors online are just absolutely insane, and I don't believe any of them. But that's just what happens when you tease stories like this and you don't tell us, because by saying something happened and I'm not going to tell you, obviously, doesn't that just sound like, oh, something big happened? So when you say, well, it actually wasn't anything big at all, people have a hard time believing you. The narrative has already got away from you at this point. As sad as he was in that press conference, and then he stayed in the room for just to see how Ortega and Malachi handled the questions from the media, and he just looked so sullen. I've seen Mark Pope be angry after losses last year, and I thought his demeanor was perfect. It matched the demeanor of the Kentucky fan base. And maybe that's how Kentucky fans felt on Tuesday, super defeated like that, where you're seeing the dreams of what this season was supposed to be sort of crumble early. And again, what's today's date? November 20th? It's not full panic mode yet, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on that North Carolina game now. And if they lose that one,
they won't.
I think
rest assured, I've come to bring tidings of good news,
Thank
UK
you,
fans. They will win that UNC game. Unfortunately, everybody's going to be asleep for it because it's at 9:30 at night. They'll win that one. I'm not saying it as anything disrespectful to UNC. UNC certainly. Have you seen Kentucky this year? Are you kidding me? But I'm just speaking it into existence. They're winning that UNC game.
Have to.
Because they will carry Mark Pope out of Rupp Arena if he does not.
I'm really worried what this whole thing might just really collapse if they lose that one.
If you lose that one, I mean, you'll go through the out-of-conference without any signature wins. Maybe you get Gonzaga, but if you couldn't beat UNC at home, why do you think you get Gonzaga in Nashville?
Gonzaga, Indiana.
You'll lose St. John's.
St. John's, yeah.
And IU, how is Kentucky going to defend them the way that they've defended teams this year? IU can actually shoot the ball. And you go back to some of the people that they missed on in the transfer portal, and it's not because you don't have the money, and it's not because you don't have the resources. It's because you just messed up on this roster construction. You went too deep. And Yaxel Lindenberg didn't want to have to share the front court. And Lamar Wilkerson, who is dominating for IU, I think he's averaging maybe 18 a game. Maybe that was just one game. But he's putting up great numbers for them. And shooting the three ball really well. What does this team need? Somebody that can shoot the three ball well. But
yeah,
he didn't want to come to Kentucky because...
Wow, he is. He's shooting 52% from three right now.
Yeah, Kentucky could use that. They could use that. And you had him at Keeneland, dude. Yeah, he's averaging 19 points per game.
He's averaging 52% on over 7 attempts per game. He's making almost 4 a game.
And you had him. He would have came to Kentucky. I think you offered more money than IU based on just kind of some rumblings, but maybe it was similar. He just liked the role at IU better.
Well, because he's playing 31 minutes per game.
And that wouldn't be happening.
And he wouldn't be happening. Yeah.
So you got to change. I mean, and then
overvaluing depth, man, is a problem.
It is. And also, if we talk about, $22 million, that's great. What would the $22 million roster look like with 7 or 8 players deep? Dude.
Probably really, really good.
If you weren't wasting $1 million on player number 10 or 11, that could have gotten you Yaxel Lindenberg, where he just couldn't say no to the money you were offering. Donovan Dent would have said, gosh, I really do want to play close to home. I don't like Vic Cronin. He's a loser. But I really, really want to play close to home. But for $6 million more, sorry. Like, it's a business decision.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not saying that that was the things that you needed to do. I'm not saying if you would have gotten that player, UK would have been better. If you would have gotten this player, UK would be better. I do think that in some instances, but the whole point is you just messed up on this roster construction, seemingly.
It does look like that.
And your big fish was a dude who we don't even know when we're going to see again. And your second big fish, again, Otega Owe was the most expensive player, but he's player retention, people that you bring in. Your second biggest fish is a point guard who we don't know if we're going to see again.
Yeah.
So, like, that's some bad luck with the Jalen Lowe thing, although supposedly Matt Jones took a shot at me for saying that he had an injury history. The dude just has an injury history. I'm not saying that to be mean. It's just factually true.
How many games did he miss at Pittsburgh?
Well, that's kind of the interesting caveat. I think he only missed 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But that was a separate injury. He, according to his own dad on the Leach report, he played all of last year hurt with a hand injury.
He did say that.
His dad said that. So for his dad to come at me for saying that, like, oh yeah, this may be something to monitor, and then sure enough, I hate that it came to fruition, but boom, now he's maybe out for the year, not out for the year. Seems like it's going to be a good while for it, and that's bad luck for Pope. But going and making Jaden Quaintance your big fish, that wasn't bad luck. That was just a bad decision, maybe. Maybe it ends up not being, but you need star power right now. You need star power today. And I think what Pope thought was, all right, we'll be good enough, we'll be deep enough, and then when we're rocking and rolling, that's when JQ comes back, and watch out for the Wildcats. But instead, your biggest prized possession in the transfer portal can't help you as you're floundering.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing
That's a mistake.
Is too, what did you think about what he said about Brandon Garrison being the second most efficient player?
Yeah, I tweeted about it. That's embarrassing. I have to see what metrics you're using because there's just no way that's true. And, well, technically, if you look at this and when this game and that game, all right, let's see how those metrics, whatever one he's using, which is just not true, how did his metrics look in the Louisville and in the Michigan State game?
And Georgia.
Because I don't care if he blew, against nobody State University, he actually put together a halfway decent performance.
He out-talled them because their tallest guys would be 6'9".
And I know that you mentioned this during one of the commercial breaks, but can we not find a happy medium between, well, the eye test says I want to do this with John Calipari, and then Mark Pope maybe being overly analytical?
Yeah, I think there's like too much.
Brandon Garrison, I don't care. Whatever says he's second most efficient, throw it away because he is not second most efficient. My eyes are telling me that dude cannot be on the floor against decent competition.
Yeah, and I'd like to see what numbers they are referencing because not only is your eye test telling you Brandon Garrison is not a starter on a Final Four team, the numbers say that he's not. The numbers that we can look at easily accessible say he's not a starter on a Final Four team. He's like serviceable when you need him maybe in a pinch and guys get in foul trouble. Throw him in. Maybe he provides some energy off the bench. But I think some real conversations need to be had with him and maybe a couple other guys about just what is your role going to be this year. I mean, TJ, I don't want to be mean about this when I'm talking especially about 18 to 22-year-olds. Now, these are 18 to 22-year-old nearly millionaires, or some of them are millionaires. They are in a different tax bracket than us, TJ, by a substantial amount, I will say.
Yep.
But they're still young people. Some of them barely not children anymore. So I will dial it back just a little bit. But if you in the off season, as everybody said, okay, but who's the shooter? Because last year you could roll out lineups and have 4 shooters on the floor. Sometimes even like 5 guys who could hit from 3. And you had spacing that allowed guys like Otega to do what he does best. So when you put this roster together and there wasn't any shooters, everyone thought, oh, okay, that could be this. I don't know how this is going to work. And then we were all told in the offseason, Trent Noah is going to save us. No, Trent Noah is shooting 80% in our 5-on-5s. He is unbelievable. This kid doesn't miss. Okay, sophomore Trent Noah cannot be, if he's what we're talking about, that should have been a massive red flag. He should be player 11, and we're talking about him being the star shooter.
But I do think that part of the reason we got so excited was that, oh my goodness, if they're raving about Trent Noah, they must
be amazing. But they said he's the best shooter. And
well, he has only hit 2 threes this season.
What's his shooting percentage?
30 or 29%.
29%?
I'll round up for him. 2 of 7. He's taking your best 3-point shooter is taking 7 threes this year. That's an issue. That's a problem.
Because he can't be in the games.
No, and he was hurt, so that
Yeah,
plays
there's
a
that
role
too,
in the
of course.
total.
But
And
even
he can't even create separation. That's why he's got to shoot from 24 feet.
My thing with this team is we already knew going in that Kentucky's identity was supposed to be the front court, right? It was supposed to be such a dominant front court that other teams are going to look to shoot, but you're not going to be able to get inside. And then the defense is supposed to be extremely stout. The perimeter defense is supposed to exceed our expectations where we are now. I did not expect Kentucky's backcourt to be so reliant on Jalen, to the point where guys like Denzel Aberdeen, who again in the Louisville game showed this is a dog. This is a guy who go out there and get you a bucket when you need one.
sure.
That his game is completely hindered without somebody like Jalen Lowe on the floor.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that a guy like Denzel Aberdeen, when the ball is in his hands, that he becomes that much less efficient because he can't get to his own spots. He's the two guard. Like he needs to be able to get into a position that can score. He needs a guard that is primarily for dishing the ball out, getting other guys open. Now a lot of that is Jalen Lowe gets guys open when they're not hitting their shots. I didn't think that the depth on this team would be so lacking in a guard position.
Well, I think we talked about this. I think I hope I didn't speak it into existence, but I think I at least said, hey, here's a doom scenario. Maybe this team only has one point guard. And Jalen Lowe, with his injury, with playing all of last year hurt. The reason that they brought up the injury last year was maybe he was fine last year. And last year really wasn't like an injury-prone season like his dad led on. But they brought it up to excuse his poor shooting numbers. As if he couldn't get a good rhythm all season because his hand was hurting.
Yeah.
All right, so that's why we went into that. But that avenue, we brought it up on roll call, and we said, all right, well, what if, do we only have one true point guard?
You do, yeah, that's it.
And was that the scenario last year? Was Kerr a true point guard? And if he was, he also got hurt.
Yeah, I think only having one true point guard, signing one true point guard, especially when you have this many point guard injuries last season, was a huge mistake. And yeah, man, there were questions about this team's ability to shoot the ball, and they're coming to fruition. That's worrying me a lot. Colin Chandler is your only good 3-point shooter right now. He's the only one. I don't. That's what makes me worried, and that's what made
And
me.
he's got some limitations too, just everywhere else.
Yeah, because
I don't think he's UK's worst defender or anything like that. I don't think he's a liability defensively, but he's not a lockdown guy either.
yeah, I mean,
He's not changing the game defensively.
no,
He's not changing the game with his passing. He
If this
didn't
team-
go dunk on that one guy.
that was cool. Yeah, if this team, I thought the blueprint for this team actually would be the Purdue game, that the defense was going to carry them this year, and we were actually getting away for a little bit from the way Mark Pope had ran his offense at BYU and last season, because maybe he thought, well, now that I'm at Kentucky, now that I've had a year to recruit and scout players, and we have the budget to go get guys, I'm going to go get some better athletes. And when you have better athletes, you don't have to rely on hitting 10 of 33s per game. That you can work the ball inside, you can drive to the basket, but also more importantly, you can prevent the other team from scoring. You don't have to go out and try to outscore everybody. But they're not playing good defense, and they're not scoring. So I think the reason that you see him so dejected in that press conference, not so much today, but certainly on Tuesday night, was he's probably scratching his head too. And Cody Feger's probably scratching his head like, what? Well, how do we do this then? How are we going to figure this out? And dude, the expectations of what this season was supposed to be, and it's going to keep getting brought up. The money that was spent, you spent that money. I don't think you're going to spend that again. I don't think that will happen again. I think they went all in this year to be like, we have to be great again. And we have to prove to future recruits that this is going to work. Because TJ, when Kentucky would lose some games even early the last few years, I would look at, okay, who are you bringing in next year? And under John Calipari, you would look and be like, oh, well, I mean, this guy I actually like this player. And then in 2022-23, as things were kind of falling apart, you could look at Rob, Reed, DJ, Justin, all those guys, Aaron coming in, and Cal was wearing the shirt. So you were able to, I was like, okay, we just got to get through this year, have some guys come back. We'll be rock solid next season. And I'm looking at I mean, the early signing period ended, and they don't have anybody, and that makes me worried that this whole recruiting thing is going to be an issue with this coaching staff.
And Pope was asked about that as well. So and he said, now we're going to sign some great high school young men and blah 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 blah. But it's now looking like Christian Collins, who was predicted to Kentucky, he's not going to make any announcements till the spring, which just allows for more shenanigans and sometimes for a higher price tag. So it is not great news with UK basketball right now. There's no other way around it. We're going to take our last commercial break. We're going to read your text. That's what we're going to do in the final segment. We're going to talk about Mitch Barnhart and Matt Jones' comments regarding the UK longtime athletic director possibly hanging it up after this athletic season. Flying by today. One final segment coming up next on Kentucky Roll Call. Welcome back. One final segment, Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. Producer Matt, you gambled on Corey Price and you lost, and unfortunately we weren't able to give out any free salsaritas. I don't know how he didn't get the Shakira question. I thought it was a lock.
I even tried to, give it to him. He just fired the gun a little too early.
He went with Iglesias? Rico Iglesias? Yeah, terrible guess. And borderline a problematic answer for him. Yeah, no doubt about it. But that being said, you can go get your own salsaritas, and next Thursday we're going to try it all again. They've got 3 locations in the area, Middletown, St. Matthews, and Bullitt County, right off I-65. Download that Salsaritas app, and you will be getting free salsaritas. They do chips, $2 off, you name it. There's always specials, and you can do the catering. Maybe Thanksgiving. Not looking to do your own turkey this year. Maybe there's some hiccups in the household or whatever. Let Salsaritas take care of all your holiday catering needs. They'll bring it right to your front door, or it'll be waiting for you at the restaurant. They've even helped load it into my car, which I greatly appreciate. St. Matthews, Middletown, it's got a drive-through on yucky rainy days, and of course, out in Bullitt County, I-65. All right, let's read I don't know. I want to read text. The texts are really good. Sometimes you texters are smarter than we are. Most of the time, you all are smarter than we are. And I want to get to these points, but at least we need to comment on the Mitch Barnhart news. So what I would ask you to do, Stephen Peak, is just kind of summarize maybe what Matt Jones said regarding Mitch Barnhart and who possible replacements would be.
Okay, so Matt said on Wednesday's show that he believed that this will be Mitch Barnhart's last year. He basically doubled down today and said, I am even more sure that this will be Mitch Barnhart's final season. Didn't really speculate about who a replacement might be. I've heard that if Mitch does leave, that they're going to basically promote from within. I think there's been people who've kind of been within the athletic department for a while now that they think could be the one of the next man up. Mitch Barnhart has been the athletic director almost like my entire life. When did he start? Was it like 2000 something, 2002?
Yeah, he's been at Kentucky for a very, very long time. 2002 is when he left Oregon State.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be
2002.
major. That would be big. That's
He took over UK athletics when I was 11 years old.
yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Crazy
most
to
of,
think about.
I know it's been, like I said, most of my life he's been the guy running my favorite athletic department, and I would say
That is so, like, my entire life has just, you're right, just one dude's been running the things that we hold so nearly and dearly to our heart. What if when he's out, it gets a lot better?
or doesn't. But yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I mean,
The only way I could see getting worse without Mitch Barnhart is more scandal.
What year was
Yeah.
Gameday when he started?
2002. What was, you gonna do a joke?
Oh, yeah, it was like the 80s.
You would need like 4 Mitch Barnhart tenures to even sniff Mitch McConnell.
But
at that
Mitch is
juncture.
the longest tenured in the SEC, though, right?
Yes. Yeah, I
'cause-
think he's the longest in college athletics.
Is he really?
I mean, at least at like the Power 5 level.
Wow.
Nobody's been at the position longer than Mitch Barnhart has. And I get excited thinking about him hanging it up. Oh, you need to be appreciative for all the good things. First off, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do, so shut up. Secondly,
Are you appreciative of what he's done?
No. Because I don't want to, like, I'm appreciative for the way he's handled himself for the most part, and I think he's represented UK professionally, and I can appreciate that. Although that's not to say the next person couldn't do the exact same thing. If you would have had 6 athletic directors in that time, all 6 of them could have handled themselves that exact same way, and ideally you'd hope that they do. But he gets so much praise for just doing his job, where if there was another athletic director the last 30 years, they would have built new facilities. They would have done updating and renovating, and they would have hired coaches and fired coaches. And he has a mixed record, as you would expect for somebody that's been in the position for as long as they have, 23 years. He's made some horrible hires, and he's made some good hires. I don't really care for him to make another one. maybe I'm not.
What are the bad
trying to-
hires?
the bad hires.
you can
There's a ton.
go through them?
There's a ton.
Billy,
Joker,
Joker.
Kyra.
Yeah, I forgot Kyra. Yeah, that's 3 for major sports.
We'll see Pope.
He did Craig Skinner.
We'll see Pope. Yeah, Craig Skinner. That's been a good one.
We'll see Pope.
Keeping Nick Mingione was a great decision, which that was one that I disagreed with him on.
Does he get criticism? I mean, like, if I do believe, maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm foolish. I do think Mark Pope will figure it out and it will work. I do believe that.
That was totally up in the air.
But if it doesn't, yeah, that's 2 of his 3 basketball hires that he made that didn't work out, and then the way that the Calipari one ended with he got lucky with the contract, that was handled poorly.
Well,
and there was a whole a
the way
search
people
committee.
tell it was that people came into Mitch Barnhart and they were like, "You're hiring Cal this time."
There was a search committee
We're not letting
done.
you not hire him again because they went with Billy in 2007. So again, like I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for something new. And according to Matt Jones, somebody sent me the quote. Just a lot of stuff that when talking to people, there's a good chance there's a new AD, and then the question is, who is that? And I think if you had to guess, it would be one of 2 people, which is either Dwayne Peavy, who was at UK for many, many years
Yes,
and
please.
is the DePaul athletic director,
Bring him.
or the guy who has his job now, Mark Hill. My guess is it's one of those 2 guys, and that consistency continues, according to Matt Jones. So Mark Hill has been with UK for a long time, 27 years. He's the deputy athletic director. I'd say he'd be your Vegas favorite, and maybe by a
Probably.
decent margin.
I bet that's exactly where that goes. I would like to get Dwayne Peavy.
Can you explain why you would be so much more excited about Peavy versus a Mark Hill?
Just some stuff that I've heard from behind the scenes, how things were rolling with Peavy being more hands-on with some stuff, especially the basketball program. So, a lot of people have said they really miss him being there. So that's why. But I do think. I think the reason also I wanted somebody, he's been there before, but he's also an outsider, is just to change the whole vibes of some stuff, right? I mean, just to.
I totally agree, and I don't even know if I'd want to go Peavy. There could be somebody similar to Peavy like
maybe.
that.
And Mark Hill might do that. I mean, he might just how much can he really change when his boss is the guy right
I'd
now?
like to think, even though Peavy, Peavy or somebody like Peavy seems to have the perfect blend of, all right, you know how the system run under Mitch Barnhart and how he wants to do things, but now you've been off on your own, and what worked for you? What didn't work for you?
True.
Let's bring back these fresh ideas to Lexington. And has DePaul been killing it in any capacity? No. But when has DePaul ever been killing it in any capacity? And they've actually probably got a little bit more momentum now than they have in the last decade or so. It doesn't have to be Peavy, although I'd like him, but somebody like him. I'll tell you what, though, folks, it's going to be Mark Hill. You can just go read his UK athletics bio, and they've already prepped it. I mean, they're just going to probably copy and paste this thing to the press release when they announce that he's going to be the guy. It's all talking about all the things he's done behind the scenes. And I do think it's interesting. He's got his background in baseball, but then he switched over to football at UK. So I do think he'd have an eye on those 2 programs, and he'd care about. You got to care about everything aspects of the department: internet operations, business and accounting, human resources. They're talking about all these different things. He played a vital role in the successful hire of now 13th year head coach Mark Stoops. It's just all about all the great things he's done behind the scenes. He's going to be the next athletic director.
Yeah, you're right.
Mark and his wife Ginny have sons Dalton, 27, Kogan, 23, a daughter Brooklyn, 25. Maybe the fact that he's got kids in their 20s, he'll be open to like, hey, what about if we change the logo on the court and it doesn't have to be a big 7-year thing? Wouldn't that be kind of neat?
Now, oh man, I think I would like that. That sounds
let's
efficient.
do new jerseys just because it's fun and people may like it and it can get more money into the program.
Nah, but it's going to cost you money, TJ. You're forgetting we're trying to balance the books here.
So the reason I worry about Mark Hill a little bit is just is he too Mitch Barnhart?
Well, that's what everybody's going to.
What if he's a more
concerned
conservative version of Mitch Barnhart?
Yeah, that's going to be hard to do.
I agree. I don't think that's the case. If it's Mark Hill, I think the idea would be things stay how they are, and you could get behind that.
I think he'll make a few changes. We've often said, just amongst, especially Adam Luck and Nick Roush, whenever we're on road trips, whoever comes in as the new AD is going to be like, what why were we doing this though? Why are we?
Well, if it's Mark Hill, wouldn't he be like, I know
Well,
exactly why we were doing this?
well, yeah.
I was doing it.
Well, how much do you think he's hands-on, and how much do you think he's having to answer to Mitch? And that's where I
think Mark Hill is very hands-on. I think he already does a ton.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean
that
hands-on.
As like an optimistic thing that if it is Mark Hill, you could have some reservations about like, oh man, is it just going to be more of the same? But the positive, the optimistic side would be like, all right, it probably won't be a big drop-off, right?
He would want to distinguish himself as being different. I feel like anybody who has that role would want to immediately do some things that would just, this is why I'm different than the last guy, especially when the last guy is going to leave a little less, like he's going to leave with the fan base being just a little disappointed, I think, just because of how, like, if Mitch Barnhart would have left in 2020, I think everyone would have been like, oh, like football's rolling, basketball, yeah, we haven't won a championship in a few years, but it seems to be going well. But then,
2020
since COVID, things really went south. I mean, the football team had a great year in 21, but outside of that, the flagship program is the one that, I mean, that one has to be. Kentucky basketball is an international brand. That has to be good. That it cannot go this long and not be good. That was a very important hire. It's really, Cal did him a disservice in a way because Mitch was not able to put feelers out for coaches early enough and maybe get some people thinking about a potential move to Lexington. But he had his guy.
Cal did no such disservice in the leaving Lexington department.
No.
Nothing but favors and benefits.
Yes,
and
but I said
Barnhart should have
slightly.
been kissing his feet
Just because
on the way
of how,
out of town.
just because of how abrupt it all happened.
Yeah,
that it left him with
coaching, sir. That's coaching, right?
Yes, but a lot of times in these, especially for the big programs, you kind of can know this is probably going to be somebody's retiring. This guy's probably going to leave, or we're going to fire him. So we're putting feelers out, and they didn't get a chance to do that. Now he obviously had been in contact with Scott Drew and wanted him and whiffed. And we don't know who else he whiffed with. If there was ever a real big offer for Dan Hurley, if they ever really went after Nate Oates, but if Mark Pope doesn't work out, that's his legacy is now, I think, attached to how this Pope hire works out.
I think that's fair. Yeah, and also maybe how these next 2 football games with UK and Mark Stoops as well, because that's another ridiculous contract. Let's read a couple texts on the Game Day Men's Health text line, but first, got to tell you about the holiday half-price magic. You ready for the Christmas budget? Can make you nervous at times, but now at shoppingkentuckiana.com, you can grab half-price gift certificates to some of your favorite local spots like Malibu Jack's, Parlor Pizza, 5 Iron Golf in Louisville, all places that we absolutely love. Imagine giving someone a $100 gift card but only paying $50, or a $40 gift card for just $20. That's the kind of Christmas math that everyone can get behind. These are perfect for stocking stuffers, family fun, or even a little treat yourself. Why not? But don't wait. The best deals always disappear fast. You go to shoppingkentuckiana.com and grab your half-price Christmas deals before they're gone.
Man, that's a good deal.
It just seems almost too good to be true. You got to give gifts, don't you? Well, may as well save some money on it.
Hey,
a texter says, women's volleyball is the current flagship program.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, until it's not.
They're great. I mean, I'm not even hating. They are amazing. 9 straight SEC championships. That's amazing.
And I see a journalist, somebody I think specifically tweeted out today, and I don't remember who it is, not that I'm trying to take a shot, when it's like, there's no brainer that Craig Skinner's the best coach on campus. It's like, all right, well, if Nick Mingiones goes back to the College World Series, then is he the best coach on campus? If Mark Pope, they're doing great right now. Yeah, I'm happy about it.
It is great. I didn't go to Kentucky, so I don't have the same allegiance to like
all the sports. That's interesting. That's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean the baseball. Hey, I want them all to win games. I mean, I get to cover the baseball a little bit and get to cover some Craig Skinner press conferences. I like when he steps up on the desk and does his whole pitch from there. That was cool.
It was Oscar Combs, and yes, he was just being nice. And it's true, he is probably the best coach on campus right now, and it is probably the best program on campus right now. But our listeners don't care about that,
and
they don't need me to have to come out and like state it as we want the volleyball, we want all these sports to do great, and when they are doing well, we'll talk about it. But football and basketball is why people listen to Kentucky Roll Call and so many different radio shows.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, real quick, there was some confirmation in what Mark Pope said about Brandon Garrison. Evan Maya has Brandon Garrison as Currently, Kentucky's second most efficient player offensively.
Okay, but overall?
I mean, I don't know about overall, but isn't that what Mark Pope says?
That speaks to the nightmare of the offense.
Yeah. It might.
If he's been the second most efficient offensive player,
the
goodness
top three,
gracious, things have gone horribly wrong.
Do you know who the most efficient offensive player?
Colin Chandler?
Mo Diabate.
Okay, so Evan, we got to work on these numbers.
I want Evan. Can we bring him back on the show and have him explain why it is like this?
Yeah. Can you take a screen? Can you send a screenshot to me of that? I may just text him and be like, Evan, we got to talk about this.
Jalen Lowe is considered the top one, but he's out right now. It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got some formula. He'd explain it out. Evan's a good dude, but yeah, I'm gonna have to send that to him. A texter says, "Would not want PV. We need someone who can focus on the football program. We would need an AD that has experience having success at both major sports." I think PV. If it is PV, I wouldn't panic just because DePaul didn't have a football program. While he was Cal's right-hand man for a good bit, eventually PV kind of transitioned into an everything role at UK. And you wouldn't miss him at a football game. Not that just going to a football game means you're going to make the program thrive, but I would not worry about that with PV. Just my opinion. I know me just saying, trust me, bro, isn't going to convince you otherwise, but I don't think PV's lack of football experience at DePaul would be any sort of issue at Kentucky. Another texter says, starting to see more and more like last year was just lightning in a bottle, and we caught the positive end of variance in big games. I think, if this is just like Pope's over his head and in 2 years that ends up being true or we find that out to be true and we look back at that first year, Peak will probably just be simply, that was an amazing shooting team. They had hot games and they beat some good teams, and they had some cold games and they lost some big games. Because when you're a shooting team and you're not hitting shots, that Ohio State game happens. Some of those blowout losses happen. That Alabama SEC tournament game happens. So
that's why he wanted to focus on defense.
You could be right. He did go after runaway talent. He just missed on it. And I think a big reason why he missed on that talent in the portal is because
depth.
I think part of the reason Caleb Wilson, who else is on that UNC front court? It's him. It's like he gets all of it. And players want that. Pope's direct quote, "I think these guys care about each other."
Good.
That really has me sold.
Yeah. I think they do.
Thanks for texting that in. I think these guys care about each other, but when they're punching each other in the face in the locker room, I'm not so sure about it. Right, Pope? Is that how you finished that quote?
Well, if anything like that happened. But TJ, they've gotten down by 9 points or more in 11 of the 19 games away from Rupp Arena in the Mark Pope era. They've won 3 of those, I think. They trailed at halftime in, I think, 14 of 19.
That's bad. Like, all these are bad. And I hope that we don't look back and be like, whoa, the first year wasn't as good as we remembered it.
Well, it was good in terms of...
You won a lot of big games.
The school record for beating, top 15 teams. Mm-hmm. They had a ton of quad 1 wins, and it overachieved when you consider the injuries, when you consider how quickly this team had to be put together. And Mark Pope got a pass first year. And even after losses, Kentucky fans didn't really get that upset last year. And the other thing, too, TJ, is that those players last season, you felt like they really appreciated the opportunity to play at Kentucky. You haven't gotten that feeling with this team.
All right, we got to go. Thanks, everyone. So many good texts. Kirby, Buzz, Patrick Murphy. Sorry we didn't get to them today. Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll be back for a Friday show. Thanks to Corey Price. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.